Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I am just going to get my screen on here. If you've seen any of my other live videos, you know that I have to watch myself be live so that I can catch the chat. Otherwise, on my little tiny phone, I don't actually see it. So I'm just going to grab that on my screen and then we'll get started. And I should put the link. The link is, well, I did this last time and then I thought that was silly, but look at me do it again. I'm going to be working on Heart Levels 40 today, which is 40 refers to the windows when you're doing interlocking crochet, and we're doing mosaic crochet. So 40 isn't necessarily helpful, but when you have all of the squares that are 40, you know that they're going to be the same size. So there's that. I was going to say, oh, the link. So I haven't updated this one to have center out yet. And that it will get updated. Currently, I was just working on it today and it's almost ready. And then I thought, hey, my kids are out. I should go live. What should I do today? And it won't be a very long live. I know sometimes I have really long lives. This one, they're just at the park. So when they come back, I'm going to say, okay, I'm all done. Goodbye. So just be ready for that. So I put the link. That's the pattern I'm going to work on. When it's updated, it will have the written instructions for center out. Right now it only has like the regular bottom up, and it'll have center out instructions for interlocking and mosaic. You can see these are almost the same size. This kind of fits in there. The interlocking has these mesh dots. This little heart is about to be created here. I'll have charts and written instructions for the center out for both techniques then. So right now it's regular up and down. And I wanted to just show you, because the beginning of it is a bit weird. Maybe you're familiar with mosaic crochet center out. Look what I'm doing. I wanted to show you this, so I should have undone it first, but I thought maybe you could just listen to me talk. Oops, my little thing. I'm just going to try again. Go back. Try again. See if that's going to work this time. Now it's giving a commercial. Boring. I don't really like the commercials on my channel, but it was giving me commercials anyways, and now I sometimes make money from the commercials, so I do like that part. I'm just pulling this all out because I wanted to show you guys. This pattern is not going to be the only pattern that starts weird. I have not published it yet, but I have a different pattern as well, where the beginning starts with a couple rows that are all the same color. And I thought maybe that's weird for some of you people. Oh, you don't even start with a slip knot. Okay. I'm losing my mind. Here I am. I think I've been live long enough that anybody who's going to join us is ready. And if you heard it already, the pattern link that I put there is not full. It's not updated. So when we do mosaic crochet, this is going to be my main color. MC, really it just means first color. And we're going to start with, what do you call this thing again? It's a magic ring. You just sort of making a loop. This loop you can tighten when you're done, and that keeps the middle really tight. So we are going to start center out mosaic crochet, 8 single crochets in this magic ring. 1, 2. Oh, I was going to mention, well, I guess I did show you the pieces. I removed the mesh dots for the interlocking version. This is the chart that should go with this pattern. All these little dots, I've removed them, so that's why it's very solid. If I kept the dots in, you would need to switch back and forth right from the get-go. Come on, little papers, get out my way. I just need to focus. Focus, focus, focus. 4. Hi, I'm Ashley Brotzel, and I don't focus very well. But I do have fun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I count that beginning one and sometimes I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is also a stitch here. 6. We'll keep going. I need 8, 7, 8. So you can tighten it at this point, but you don't want to pull too tight because you still need to get into that final stitch, and when it's really tight, it's hard. Hello, welcome to my live video. It's exciting to have you. If you want to grab a hook, you can crochet with me, but I think that sometimes my live videos aren't very good for crocheting with because I'm not organized enough. Ah, Cindy, you're funny. My laughter is contagious. Here around my house, we just say that everyone likes to laugh at Mom. I have to be silly because I have little kids and too much stress to be too serious. So now that I've gone in there, I can pull this really tight. And normally, this would be the point where we join our other color. If you've done a different one, we have the little inner circle. This counts as row 0. It's the dot in the middle. And in order to do the next part, you don't have the pattern in front of you because I didn't update it, but I have the pattern, and it says that the next row, we're not switching colors. Rows 1 through 4, we're still going to be using this one. So instead, we are just going to, you don't really need to do this part, but I found that when I was doing it, I like to have it really tight on the back because it keeps things from twisting. And that would be, we would normally be tightening it if we had changed colors. So now we're just tightening it for nothing. There's no change colors. And we're just going to grab the next back loop only because this mosaic crochet. Let me see if I can bring it close enough. So you can see normally this is like a V, right? We're just using the back loop for mosaic. The next stitch is actually here. It's very tiny because we've been tightening things, but it's still good to use him. So we're going to go in the back loop, and row 1 starts with a corner. A single crochet corner means you do a single crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. And then I only write out one side of the square because we're making a square, but each side is the same. So the next instruction says single crochet 1. If you read the key, you would know that it means back loop, or if you're familiar with mosaic crochet, and that's the side. So now we turn it and we do the next side. We're going to do it 4 times. Corner means we do a single crochet, a chain, and another single crochet all in the same spot. Then there's only 1 stitch along the side, a single crochet, and we're done. So we turn it. And it's making a square. We first started with a nice circle, and right off the bat, we're turning it into a square. This part, I don't know, maybe you think it's boring. I'm used to doing more intricate things where you start off right away with things being confusing. So I actually thought it was kind of nice when I was doing my swatch earlier that the beginning you could kind of just go. Now you see this is loosening. I pulled it tight again, but it'll loosen if I don't weave it in. Before you finish your project, you must weave it in. It'll be fine if you're just crocheting right now, but before you actually put this in the washing machine, you got to weave that tail in. To join, we're going to take our hook out, which is scary. And if you look really close, you can see this was our corner. We have a single crochet, a chain 1, and then the first single crochet, he's kind of smushed to the side. So that's where we're going to go under. They call this an invisible join. I don't know who they is, but that's what I learned. They call it an invisible join. The magic ring, yes! No tails when you're doing overlay mosaic in the round. Center out, whatever you want to call it, right? That's the best. And you could just start working, but this is where I found it was handy to like make a chain and really tighten it up. Just to keep things from twisting. I don't know. That's just my own little thing. So that's what I have in the pattern. When the pattern's updated, you can look back at this video and go, oh, that's what she's doing. So we're going to do it again. This was the corner. This is a single crochet, a chain, and then the single crochet, he's going to smush down here. So we're using the chain space for all the corners. We're just using the back loop. And we're doing another corner, single crochet, chain, single crochet. That's our corner. Now we are on round 2. So we're going to do 3 single crochets. That's the end of the side. Very simple if you know what you're doing, but if you're new to crochet or you're new to overlay, I feel like that might be something that feels overwhelming still. So I thought a video might be handy. A video before the pattern's ready, because I'm crazy like that. One, 2, 3, corner, 1, 2, 3. So then our last side is the hardest one because I feel like you really do have to count to make sure that you don't forget the last stitch. We've got 1, 2, and if you weren't paying attention, you might think you were done. The third one, this is the front loop that you're going to leave available. So you have to kind of pull things apart to find the back loop. He's smushed in there to get your third stitch. So that's the third single crochet. And then of course we still have to join the rounds to close it off. I pretty much always pull my corner out to make sure that this was corner, chain. Oh yes, this was my first single crochet stitch of the corner. And you go under both loops when you're joining it. We're not ready to change colors yet, so we're still gonna just tighten it up for no apparent reason. Boop, 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 boop. We are now on row 4. Now people will also say, well, how can I count? I forget which spot I'm on. So you have to kind of look. Let me see how close can I bring it. Ooh, come on, camera, focus. Is it gonna focus? So this was our inner round. And you can see the front loops, they make a bit of a bump. And that would be 1, and this front loop is 2. So now we're on front loop 3. We're going to make round 3. You can also, at these early stages, you can just count. Find your corner and your other corner and figure out how many stitches are between it so that you can pay attention to which row you're on. Now, I pretty much always count in the corners, like I was saying, to find that chain. 1 corner, ta-da! So row 3 says 5 single crochets. It gets you to the next chain space. The chain pretty much always flops out a little, so he is not too hard to find. And this yarn is a worsted weight yarn. I'm using a 5mm hook, but I'm actually finding it a bit tight. I would have preferred to go up a hook size, but I'm crazy and I'm mixing yarn weights because my contrasting color is a 3 weight. It's a thicker 3 weight and it recommends a 5. So I probably should have stuck to using the same kind of yarn, but I liked this pretty stuff and I didn't have anything to go with it. That's how I do things. So now we're back at the corner. I'm going to go corner. Oh, I think I did miss a loop there. Didn't miss a loop. I missed part of the string. You know, my yarn split. This is Bernat satin, but it's like really old. I'm pretty sure it was in a bag given to me. So they probably changed their formula for how they make yarn by now. And if you were counting, that's 5. You can see it's a square. I don't know. I just think it's so fun to start new projects. So I have like a million things I'm supposed to be finishing, and instead I decided to start a new one. I also was supposed to be doing the weeds in the garden. They are out of control. But I didn't do that today either. Well, I did weed like 4 potato plants. That's not really enough. Those potatoes are being dwarfed by the weeds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and our 5th one is always hard to find. So this would be the front loop. You can push this stuff out of the way. If you pull on the front loop, sometimes you can see which back loop moves. Until you get familiar with it, it's very hard. It's probably the trickiest part. And I'm probably getting my big finger in the way, so you can't even see what I'm doing. Come on, loop. And ta-da! We did it. So that's the side. Now we'll join it. Now, do you remember which row I was on? That's the corner. Here's the one. Oops. I find I look at what I'm doing instead of looking at the camera. Sorry about that. So that is 3. This would be 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're doing the blue again. I just tighten it up. This was the corner space here. We're doing a single crochet corner, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Then this one says 7, which is easy. You knew you had 1, then 3, then 5, then 7, because we're always increasing by 1 on each corner. So by 2 every side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And because I pulled everything apart, so now my tangly yarn keeps coming up the side. Corner, that's where I'm at. One corner does 3 stitches. Now we're going to go 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th one, he is there, I promise. If you really have a hard time finding him, you could probably pick a different loop and it would not be super noticeable. And we join them together. Now this time, finally, we get to add our next. So that was the single crochet, the chain, which means that first single crochet, he's kind of hiding down here. So to add my next color, first I gotta find it. All right, yarn. Ooh, tangly mess. Ooh, tangly mess, you can do it. Don't tangle too much. We did it. Almost. Okay, there we go. Here it is. I'm using this Mandala Sparkle. I guess it's called Mandala Sparkle. I like the color striping, self-striping yarn for center out because then it shows off the fact that I was doing center out. If you've seen this in a different video, all I do is pick up the loop. I hold the pink one so that I can tighten this blue one. Okay, that's too messy. Let me see if I can do that better so that you guys actually can see what I'm doing. So this is the blue one I was just doing. This is what it looks like on the front. This was our magic ring. Is it gonna stay in focus? So the yarn, if you look at the back, this is where it's been tightening up. It's slightly noticeable if you're really staring at it. Otherwise, if you kept it tight, it keeps things snug. We're just gonna pull up a loop of the pink, like so, and then I hold it so that I can tighten the blue one. And I bring that blue one forward because I want to carry it. And then make sure you don't lose this tail because it'll pull right out. I just do a chain that pulls really tight because then now it's locked in. So I've got this one carried to the front, this one locked in, and I'm ready. Round 5 says using our CC contrasting color, which for me is this pink stuff. I'm going to do a single crochet corner and then 9 single crochets. It's not so hard. So it's the same spot, the chain stitch from before, only this time I'm keeping the blue tail in front so I can go over him for that first single crochet. Then I put him to the back, chain 1, single crochet in that same spot. That's the corner. This one's now ready for the next round. And the pink one, we're just going to do all the way across. If you want to count, you can. It's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see that the blue, it's all single crochet rounds, and you get this front loop making like a ridge. And I like the texture, but I want people to be aware that that's what it's going to look like because it's slightly different than other center out where you get a lot of double crochets and it keeps things pretty smooth, right? So that's why I wanted to show it off. And I will keep going because we have time. The kids are still at the park. Whoop, whoop, mama time. And the next one goes in that chain space. It's a corner, single crochet, chain one, single crochet in the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is that chain space. He sticks out a bit, right? That's the one we're going to put the corner in. Seven, 8, 9. My yarn's a bit stuck here. Let me pull on it. There we go. And I even got my scissors out because I was like, oh, I'll need these. I'm so prepared. And then I realized I don't need scissors. Only I will. So it's like a trick and then a double trick because I don't know what I'm doing. Zara's in the house. Welcome, welcome. We're going to do that corner. So if you missed it at the beginning, I'm working on the mosaic crochet version, center out, of an old pattern called Heart Levels 40. The 40 refers to how many windows it starts with when you're doing interlocking crochet, regular back and forth. And it does have a mosaic version already in the pattern, but the mosaic version currently is back and forth and it includes the mesh dots. So this is interlocking, it has all these dots. You can crochet mosaic like that, but then you would still see those polka dots. So this one now is going to be updated. It'll be solid and it'll be center out. So here is where it's important to count because you want to make sure you don't miss that last one. It'll ruin your count. So this was our corner, 2 in the same stitch with a chain in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I already knew I needed a 9th one, but I wanted to show you. This is the front loop of it. We need to grab the back loop. If you have a really hard time finding that loop, you could try using stitch markers to give you something to hang on to the next time. There we go. You like my colors? They're much better than my other video. These are more me. Look at this sparkly, pretty rainbow. I'm a child at heart. I had a pink truck in high school. I usually like pink. I like to be flashy, but understated. Navy with pink to me is a bit flashy, but understated. I don't know. Now to change colors, pull the blue one up, tighten the pink one, bring it to the front. These are just extra tails. Chain one, but tighten it really, really a lot because it's going to be shown on the back and you want it to stay flat and out of the way. Now we are on round 6. We're using our main color, which is the blue one. I know you don't have the pattern, I'm just telling you. But later, oh, there's an ant on me or a spider. I don't know what he is. I was in the garden. Ah, don't panic. Maybe you've seen my other live videos. I'm not a fan of spiders. Okay. Focus, focus. I flicked him off me. Now he's on my yarn somewhere else and he'll bother me again later. Anyway, round 6. We are going to do a single crochet corner. So when we look at the corner, we got 2 stitches in there. This one's the single crochet. That's the chain. And this was the single crochet from before. So you could put a stitch marker in there now if you're thinking you're going to lose it for the end of the round. The chain space is where we make our corners. I keep that tail one stitch locked in, then get it out of the way. Chain 1, single crochet in the same space to make our corner. And this is the first round where it's not all single crochets. We're going to do 3 single crochets to start it off. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll have 5 doubles. And when you do your double, you want to make sure that everything is lining up because you want it to go straight down. These do line up straight down. So that's the loop you want to pick up, the blue one. And we're going to do 5. If you want to lock them in, there's lots of different options. I really prefer not locking them in. I don't mind the flaps on the back. They're not giant enough for anything. And it takes time. Some styles of locking in take extra yarn, and it does squish the stitch. So you can see how the top of my stitch does not meet up with the top of this one. So if I was to pull it and lock it in, it does squish it down to lock it in. So I just don't like to. Then this is a mirror image. It's actually, if you were looking at the chart, only you would need this much of the chart and you would mirror it and repeat it on all the sides. But I write out one side at a time. So I have 3, 5, and then 3. And you want to make sure that you're skipping the stitches behind. Sometimes if things are leaning, you grab this loop, but he's actually already taken. So make sure everything is straight and ready, or you can count from your corner. Find that chain space that's the corner one. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Those are my tips and tricks. And we're going to do it for all 4 sides. It's not so big, so I'm just going to keep going. My kids are at the park. Who knows how long they'll be. Depends on how many mosquitoes bother them, or if they say, I'm thirsty, I want a snack. And then Dad eventually will give up and come home. So here we go. Dropping it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have 3 more on the side. And this is actually making a little heart. If you saw the pattern, which, I mean, you can go check it out on Ravelry. It's not exactly what we're making here, but it's close. Or if you saw the beginning of the video when I show my interlocking square that I had started, I'm not sure if I'm going to take that one apart and do a video with it. It feels weird to do a video and like start again, because then I'll have 2 squares that I don't really know what to do with. And I'm only, 10 rounds in or whatever it is. But if I pull apart, that feels weird too, because that's like 10 rounds that I'm just pulling apart for nothing. It's very strange. So I'm not sure what to do with him. Today, I pulled it apart. We'll see. Now, tomorrow, my husband is taking the kids to Nana's for art class. So I will be hopefully making another live video, or I will be finishing a pre-recorded video that is going to be used in October. I know that's a really long time to wait, so not really sure. Where was I? Yes, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I am glad you find my tips and tricks helpful, Cindy. That is why I tell you guys how many mistakes I make, because then you learn some tips and tricks. Any tip and trick I have is because I made that mistake. And trust me, I make tons of mistakes all the time. So here's where it's important to count, because it's a squished one, right? 1, 2, that third one, here he is. If I bring it close, that's the front loop and the back loop. It does not want to focus on that. I don't know how to tell my phone to focus on this little piece of string, but you can sort of see it, I think. Then we join it using this one on the side. Oh, how do I get rid of that? Let me just do something about that. Your junk isn't wanted here. Thank you very much. Report as disgusting. Thank you. And also remove it. Remove them. Okay, I don't know how to deal with spam. They're disgusting. Interrupting my video with your gross little comments. Do you know people still message me on like Instagram too? Hey, pretty lady, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I do crochet patterns. I show my pictures. I show my husband. I don't want your stinking messages. Go away. Not interested. So here we are. Now I have to bring up my screen again because I moved it to get that message hopefully gone. I don't know if it even went away or if it's only away for me, but I attempted to save your eyes. I'm sorry. So we are on, you can count. That middle circle is 0. It counts as round 0, the foundation. Then when it starts to make a square, that's 1. And you can see that the front loops didn't get used, so they're all still here. So that's 1, 2, 3. This is the front loop over here, so that's 4. The pink one is 5, which if you look back at the pattern that you don't have, but I have, that's when the contrasting color starts. So you know, yes, 5 was contrasting color. So we just finished round 6. This will now be round 7 with the contrasting color. And spoiler alert, when we're finished this round, we're going to cut the pink one. Oh, thank you, Joan. Yeah, that's just so irritating, hey? Reported, blocked, go away, get off my channel. This is going to start with a single crochet corner again. I just hold that blue for 1 stitch just to lock it in for the next round. And we're going to do 3 single crochets, then we're going to drop 1 down, 5 single crochets, drop it down, 3 single crochets. So what we're making is just a line on the tips of the pink, if that helps. Oh yes, Zara's going to go to sleep. Have a good rest. I will get this pattern updated on Ravelry soon, and then this video will be more helpful, I think. It is a paid pattern, but obviously, depending on how far I get on the video, maybe you won't need to buy it. You can just follow the video. I don't know. Whatever you like. So we'll see you around. Go have a good sleep. That is the whole side. It's just kind of doing that. Now we're going to do it again. Oops. Come on, yarn. There we go. And the corner, single crochet corner, does single crochet, chain 1, single crochet right on the corner spot. Then we're going to go 3 singles, 1 double. I shorten it in my head and then I realize that not everybody can read my mind. Isn't that crazy? 1 double crochet, 5 singles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. My yarn's a bit tangled over here. Drop it down. One of the issues when you've covered this up, if you're tilting things and pulling on them, the mistake that I've made is that I'll grab the loop that's actually hiding. It looks like this one is the loop that I want to pick, and then I mess things up. So make sure that everything is laid out straight when you're picking up your loop. Then we have 3 more to get to the corner. And here we go. The cute little pink hearts. I just think they're cute. Chain, single, 3, 1, 5, 1, 3. That's what we're saying in my head. One double. See, this is here. When you start to look, because of the way things are pulling, it looks like it could be that loop, but you have to follow it down. Oh, really? Get your spam off my account. Hide user. If I hide user, does that mean that you guys can see it still, or does that mean only I hid it? I don't really know. That's why I don't know. I tried hide user this time. Maybe that user will go away because they can just get off my channel. I don't need your messages. corner, chain, there we go. And this is the one where it's important sometimes to count to make sure you don't miss the last one. 1, 2, 3. I feel like if I was advertising for that, this would not be my audience. What a waste of time. Go advertise where they're actually wanting that. Goodness gracious. One, two, three, four, five. Yes. So double crochet down. I didn't do an intro on like what these stitches mean or anything. I didn't read the key out. That's how I do things. I just jump right in, figure it out, or drown. Is that how it works? You're gonna learn how to swim or you're gonna drown right now. But we're just doing crochet, so if you drown, it's not so bad. You'll just try again. It's okay. The yarn got a bit tangled over here, and this little paper fell off, but put it back. Oh, it's bouncing everything around. Okay, so we have to make sure that we get 3 here. So this little stitch does need a single crochet. And then we join it. Oops, stay in the camera. Although it's gonna, I don't know how to make it stay focused on me here. If I get too close, then it doesn't focus. If I get too far away, then it doesn't focus. And if I get too close, then I can't see what I'm doing. So I try to show you what I'm doing. That's the point of the video. There. Now here is our blue one. We're going to pick up the blue one. And we can carry this pink one under again. And tighten it up. But now we actually don't need this pink one because he's not going to be used for a couple rows. And I would prefer to weave it in. You can carry it up the corner if you like, but I'm just getting rid of him. And I need my pattern back up. There. So we're on round 8. We're using the main color. This first round, we're going to cover some of the pink. So we're starting still with a single crochet corner. So I find the double crochet corners a little harder to use, but I don't know. I like crocheting, but it seems like a win when it's like, oh good, it's just a single crochet corner. Whew. I don't know. It says that I need to do 5, 5, and 5. So 5 singles, then 5 doubles, and it's a mirrored image, so 5 singles on the other side. I did see a message from my husband, but I don't know what it said. He could be saying we're on our way home. When I see my kids at the door, because the window is really right in front of me, when I see my kids, I'll just let you guys know that that's the whole video today, and we'll come back to it later. It will not get the whole square in one video because it's kind of a big square. But maybe if you, however far we get, you can make a couple squares of this size and join them together and they'd still be really cute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then doubles. And if I get far enough, I'll show you the difference in texture. Now, texture is one thing that crochet designers hopefully do put a little bit of thought into. I know with some designs like Hooked on Sunshine, obviously texture, right? Some designs, you'll see that these are all single crochets. The texture is different, even though the color is the same. So a row of double crochet and single crochet, it's different texture. I don't think it matters for this project, so that's why I decided not to do double crochet over the pink. Like you could do that here and you would just have rounds of pink that would show at the back, but then the front would all be blue still anyway, so it seems like a waste of time and pink yarn. So I just changed the pattern to say, we'll just start with a blue inside square. And I'm the designer, I can change it. It's my pattern. Nope, it's not really changed from anything. It's just changed from my normal template, I suppose. When I take the pattern and read it, technically there should be single crochet pink that gets covered. But I thought that's silly. And I know that I am crocheting very fast. If you're rewatching it later, you can slow it down. I don't really know how many of you will need to rewatch the video. Once the pattern is uploaded, you'll either read the chart or read the written pattern, or you'll go to a different video of mine that teaches you how to do the technique. And I'm not sure that this video in and of itself will be super helpful, except for maybe to reassure you that this is what it looks like in the middle, right? That's kind of what I was thinking. If I have enough time, I'll go through the whole square here on various lives. It might take a couple because I don't mind. I think some people don't want to buy the pattern and maybe they'll just watch it. And some of you will watch enough video to say, okay, I'll go buy the pattern, right? 3, 4, come on, yarn. 5. And my children stayed away a really long time. I didn't think we were going to get more than 20 minutes. So, happy-go-lucky us, here we are. I don't know. So that's 4. You have to still find that 5th one. Is that going to focus? So this is the front loop here, so you have to go find that back loop. Helps to hook it this direction or pull on the front loop, whatever you need to do. Pull this out of the way is usually what I do. And I use my fingers and the hook and just stretch it out so that I can get in there. Single crochet, 5. Then we have to join it under the single crochet from before. Put it on. And we're not changing colors. So that's round 8. Round 9, 10, 11, and 12 are all going to be blue again. And it'll do this. It'll have single crochet. So if we don't get that far, you can just keep going. The pink one, we're just going to leave it down here. We'll have to weave these in after. And this one at the end, you have to make sure it's all woven in. I just chain 1 and tighten it because it keeps the bump looking the same all the way up. And gives me space to maneuver without pulling things and making it a gappy loop. So this is the single crochet, that's the chain space. The other single crochet is already smushed down here. Really, more spam? I'm not going to do live videos if these people don't get their act together. Well, I don't know if it'll show those. It says hide the message, so hopefully on a replay you won't have that. It's just spam. So we're going to do our single crochet corner. Then we're going to just go across. If you want to count it, I do have in the written instructions the number. Let me go back to that. This is round 9. So we'll have 17 single crochets plus the corner, which is a single crochet, a chain, and a single crochet. So you can count them if you are not sure that you're going to get every stitch. I'm pretty confident that I can find each stitch and I don't really need to count them. Sometimes on the last round I'll double check my count because I do second guess myself when it gets to that squishy corner and I want to make sure that I'm not losing a stitch. And if I have problems later, I don't really want to be taking 4 rows out because I messed up my count. So I will sometimes just add an extra stitch in or take do a decrease stitch. And that way I don't have to take the rows apart because it's really, nobody's going to be counting your stitches. As long as you're not out by like 20, 1 stitch here and there, you can probably just fudge it. If you've done any amigurumi, there's like a decrease is very common. and an increase is common in amigurumi. I'm not sure if they're very common in other patterns. Technically, we are doing increased stitches on all the corners, right? We're putting more than one stitch into the same spot. That increases it. Decreases might be a little bit more tricky. You might not be familiar with them unless you're doing amigurumi or something else that's shaped. I find it easy to know which one is my corner because it sticks out. The first single crochet seems tighter, the chain is a bit looser, and then the next single crochet is easy for me to find when I get to near a corner. You can use stitch markers. Every time you do a chain, you can put a stitch marker there if you're not sure, or if you just want that assurance that when you get to the next round, you'll know where to put it. Sometimes people laugh when they're like, you use that many stitch markers? That's crazy. And I'm like, do whatever works for you. If you need 100 stitch markers and you got your project done, who cares? There's no stitch marker police. You don't get charged extra. Well, I guess if you have to buy them. But you can use so many things for stitch markers. Like, I have actual fancy stitch markers because I treated myself and I said, I'm a designer and I need stitch markers. And they're pretty colors. They're smooth. I was using safety pins before that because they're aplenty. I've used extra yarn. I've used toys. We had some small toys. If they were small enough, I used to stick them through like an arm. That's desperation, really. Just get up and get a stitch marker, right? Don't use your child's toy. It doesn't work if the child comes along and takes the toy. So here's where I would count if I was unsure. I am very sure that this is the stitch I need to use right here. So I don't know if it'll focus on it. Not very focused. If you have a project in front of you, my big advice is like pay attention to what you're crocheting and look at the things so that you can get familiar with the anatomy of stitches and how your project looks. I can show you in videos, I can make the video crystal clear, and it still is not enough for some people, right? So knowing what your project looks like is the best way to figure out what you're doing. Same with gauge swatches. People are like, well, if I change this and that, well, just try it. Obviously, you don't want to try making an entire sweater to figure it out, but that's what a gauge swatch is for. It's a small section that you can try it out with. That way you can have an idea of what it's going to look like later. If you wanted to count, then we'd have to do 19 on this round because we're always increasing by 2. So the last round was 17, this one's 19, the next one will be 21, then 23, then 25, right? So that's helpful to find your round. Like, what round am I on? Well, you can count how many stitches you have on a side and match it up, or you can count these front loops, knowing that the front loop would have been here at the bottom, and then the next one would be at the top again, right? So you just have to know the anatomy of what you are working on. And that comes with experience, but sometimes just saying, well, I've crocheted for 30 years and I still don't know. Well, then you probably didn't look close enough. 30 years of experience is not enough if you're not actually examining it. Just being familiar with how to crochet is not enough sometimes. Pay attention, pull things apart, you know, like what part is going through what? Oh, well, that's the loop at the top, you know, that sort of thing. That's how you learn. That's how you get more experience. That's how you'll become an expert. Now this, if you were carrying your pink up the corner, you would have a small amount of pink showing at the back, but then you wouldn't have to weave in any tails at the end. So that's the trade-off there. And I would say it probably uses less yarn to carry it because you would only need to carry it this far as opposed to leaving a tail to weave in, and then at the beginning you also have to leave a tail to weave in, right? So you're saving maybe 3 millimeters worth of yarn. No, probably 3 centimeters, I don't know. But it's not much yarn. it is more time to weave things in. It looks nicer on the back, so I say cut it. How long do you think it's going to take me to get this pattern updated on Ravelry? Should we take bets? I know some people have been waiting a really long time for me to get the double wedding rings updated on Ravelry. Double wedding rings is taking a long time because one, it's a bigger project, and two, it has many more options of sizes, and that really threw my computer system for a loop, and I had to do a lot of adjustments to try and get all the options in there, and then I had to do a lot of things manually because it just wasn't working. So there was a lot of learning and trial and error, and this one, on the other hand, is just a square, and I just did my computer macros. Once they're set up, I can use them over and over again, and it's easier to get the instructions for center out. The double wedding rings is not my first center out thing, but I think it's my second or third, I suppose. I don't know, but I have more experience now, so I learned a lot, but the learning process takes time, and I didn't want to publish it without being sure, so it also took a lot of crochet time. And then because it has interlocking version and the mosaic version, and they both are very large if you're going to be doing the repeats, but the way the repeats work is actually slightly different. So the patterns are kind of waiting on each other just to make sure everything is ready. And it should be, I'm hoping this week, but honestly, no guarantees. This little Hearts Level 40 update, I think that'll be this week too, actually. Although no guarantees on that either. And by this week, I think it's Thursday today, isn't it? Or Friday? Today is Thursday. So by this week, I mean before next Thursday, in a week's time. I don't mean by tomorrow. Tomorrow, Dad is taking the kids to town. We live in a small village about an hour from the big city. So that'll give me quite a bit of time because that's 2 hours of driving plus 2 or 3 or 4 hours of entertainment while they're there. They're going to be playing with the cousins or grabbing groceries, that sort of thing. Art class with Nana. So that'll give me time to work on stuff. And I will probably do a YouTube live and an Instagram live and a Facebook live, which means I'll have to like do my hair or something. And that's always like, ugh, it takes so long. I have to actually spend time on my face just so I can be on a video. Today, conveniently, I'm not sure if you noticed, I'm not showing my face. Yep, that's me. Showing my crochet, because that's what you're here for. Supposedly, people like to see faces, and it gets better engagement and better algorithms and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, that's just too bad, because I'm a human, and my face isn't presentable for a video for everyone to watch 100 times. But this is looking cool. It is a bit wavy. The tension isn't great, which I mentioned earlier. It's because my yarn is technically too thick, but it's not so bad. It's not horrible. So we're at the corners. You can count them if you want. I'm just going to keep going. My kids are not home yet, and the more I get done in this video, then the next video we'll be able to see something more interesting than just single crochet rows. If you're rewatching this, I have no hard feelings about you skipping it. It's okay. And I suppose if I was really cool, I could add in some time counts. I can't do it live, but afters, that's not a word, afterwards, I can add in time counts. You're going to interrupt my video again? Well, that's irritating. I've never had that on my videos before, and I don't watch enough live videos from other people to know if that's a common thing. I wonder if there's like settings I can make it more strict or something. So, nope, no idea. I could make someone else a moderator, but I don't know really what that means either. I don't know is pretty much my mantra. No, is that the right word? You like pick your favorite quote for the year that'll guide your life. Mine would be, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to do it anyway. I had a dream last night that my aunt and grandma had bought me a guitar, only it wasn't a real guitar. It was like way too long and like a very rectangular box type thing with strings. And I don't know how to play the guitar, but in my dream, I picked it up and I started doing some whatever. It sounded just like my husband's magical little guitar ditties. He knows how to play guitar. He did a lesson this morning. And in the dream, it felt like, well, of course, that's just how you play guitar, and that's just a little thingy-dooey. And then I woke up and I was like, yeah, right, I do not know how to play guitar. I could learn if I wanted, but guess what? My hands are busy, and I would rather crochet. We're almost at an hour. I definitely did not expect to get an hour of crochet time. My kids randomly went to the park and Mitch was like, hey, we're going so you can get more work done or nap or whatever. And I was like, nap? You're funny. I'll work. I'll get work done. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's always an odd number, so we gotta do 21. And knowing that I have 21 also tells me, by looking at the pattern that you guys don't have, sorry, it'll be updated soon. Where'd it go? That tells me that this was row 11, and we have to do row 12 all in blue as well. So this was single crochet, chain in the corner. So the first single crochet that I want to join to feels like it's right down on the side. I just chain one to tighten everything up. Doop, 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 doop. And we're going to do 23 single crochets on the side. It's just repeating. And I know that's kind of boring to watch. I could tell you more stories. Do you have any questions? Do you have something you'd like to hear? You want to hear a funny story about my children, my garden, my face? I don't know. Whatever you want to. I will entertain the masses. Woohoo! Obviously not the masses, but I will entertain the 5 people who are watching me. My husband this morning, when he was going out the door to do his music lesson, he said, okay, I gotta go. I said, okay, we'll be here. Doing the same thing we always do. Trying to take over the world, which is like not the exact quote, but it was kind of in the Pinky and the Brain type whatever. And my husband got the joke and he laughed and everything. He said something back about taking over the world. I don't know. My little boy, who's 5, said, Mom, don't take over the world. It'll fall apart. I was like, is that supposed to mean like if I take over the world, I can't handle it and it'll fall apart? Or the world is on the brink of collapse, I shouldn't bother? Like, what? Where do you come up with these sort of silly things? Children just say things. I don't know. And I also registered my 2 youngest. Melody is 2.5 and Remy is 5. He's the one I was just talking about. And I registered this morning for an outdoor tumble class. I don't really know what they call it. It's in Saskatoon, of course, because that's the nearest city to us. It's an hour away, which means on Thursdays we're going to drive all the way there, and one parent has to be present, and the kids are in different age classes. So first it'll be Melody, and I will go with her probably. I'm assuming it'll be me doing the tumble classes, but I guess I don't really know. The kids just usually like me. They like Dad too, but for a new event like that, probably they'll pick me. And I don't think I have to do tumbling, but I have to be there to probably make her not run away, or, help with, okay, now we're kicking a ball or whatever it is. I guess you don't kick a ball in tumble class. I don't know what we're doing. I've never done this before. I paid the money. We're going to show up, and hopefully the kids will like the activity, like that we're doing something just one-on-one-ish in a group, and like learning how to listen to a different teacher, because otherwise they just hear my voice all the time. And after Melody's 45-minute class, there's like a half an hour break, and then Remy's class will start. So not entirely sure how that'll look. My other kid, Alice, she's 7. They didn't have a class for her age, so she just has to come to town and hang out with the other grown-up and child. They'll probably go grocery shopping or buy donuts or play at a nearby park. Maybe they'll see some cousins or friends or something. There's always stuff to do. And it's in the summer, July to August. It's like 7 weeks. We don't do a lot of activities. Well, for 2 years we haven't done any activities, but then we were also moving and trying to get settled. So I feel like it's about time to start putting some more structure into our lives, and I hope the kids will like it. But already I'm like, oh, that means all Thursday I don't get any crochet work done. Does that make me a workaholic? Does it count as being a workaholic if it's your favorite pastime? I really like to crochet. I really like to make patterns. I really like to be in my house. I'm an introvert and I like to stay in my house and be comfortable. But hopefully the kids will have fun, and we'll take pictures to prove to them when they're old that we did stuff. That's what they're for, right? You spend $100 on a class so that you can prove to your kids that you did something. I don't know. Now, if we were counting, you would know that there's more stitches to go here. We can go back and count if you like. I know that this one is my, it's not the super tight stitch, it's just a relatively tighter end stitch in that row. And then the weird one to catch is down here. Oh yeah, my knuckle does get in the way. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix that because I have to actually use my fingers and they get in the way. So this should be, let's double check our count. Oh, it's cute, right? It's a little wavy on the edges, but not so bad. That circle in the middle is 0. Then the first box is round 1, 2, 3, 4. We're counting the front loops. The front loops are hidden here, but that would be 4. Then it would be 5. Well, okay. Maybe I'll use this. Bring it closer. You don't have to count the loops if you know that on the pattern it says CC5. So that was pink. And CC7. So that's 7. Then you could skip counting all the middle, right? Then the next loops is 8, 9, 10, 11. And the top loop that's not been used is 12. So for round 13, we do have to join our other color again. And whenever we join another color, we know that the first round is going to be single crochets. Why is that? The nature of overlay mosaic crochet means I can't do a dropped double crochet because the pink would have no pink to drop into. Now technically you could do the stitch, but it's not proper. It's pink always gets dropped into pink and there's no pink to drop into, so you already know that you're not going to be doing any double crochets this round. So I've locked everything in. It's relatively tight. the corner, you can look, this was the single crochet, the chain, and that was the first single crochet. It's very tight there. Yeah, it's very not in focus, hey? It's not a very good teaching video if you can't see what I'm doing. I guess I might move away from doing live videos. The video quality is just not good enough. I'll have to pre-record, which means that you'll just get the videos a couple days later. But that's okay. So this one, we're going to do all single crochets. If you wanted to count them, we'll have 25. It's not extremely interesting to watch, but my kids aren't home, so I'm going to keep going. I think Zara might have went to bed. She said it was like 2 in the morning and she was tired. Oh, it's stuck in there. This is Mandala Sparkle, and it has this little gold thread running through it. It's actually kind of scratchy on the fingers. I don't think it's my favorite thing to crochet with, but it looks pretty. The pink, or I mean the blue one is satin, Bernat satin, so it's quite a lot softer. Anybody got a fun story, questions, comments, concerns? I could tell you advertising words, I suppose. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? Advertise for myself? Boring. Technically right now, the only promotion that I have on is with the O Canada blanket. So I updated the O Canada one a couple days ago, or I don't know how long it's been. If you bought it a long time ago, or if you recently bought it because of the update, you will have the opportunity to use the code OHCAN, OHCAN, and that'll get you 30% off your cart. So if you already own, or on Ravelry only, it only works on Ravelry. If you already own the O Canada throw blanket pattern, then you can get 30% off anything you like until June 19th, 18th or 19th. I don't actually remember what I typed. I just pick random days when I do this sort of thing. If you are using Etsy only, you can get that pattern for 30% off, but it doesn't apply to anything else. So it's a better deal on Ravelry. Ravelry just has better capabilities for that sort of thing. And always I have this promotion on my small squares. They're 20 window squares. This one is technically a 40 window. Of course, we're not using windows, but the size is still 4 times the size. So on a 20 window squares, I believe the promotion is that you can buy 6, but you put 6 in your cart and you only pay for 4, which makes it 30% savings. So if you're paying attention to these stitches, this is 2 in the corner, which means this is the chain space between them. So that's where the corner goes. And I have been working on a million projects at once, as usual. So this week I sent out, was it 6 patterns to testers? More than 6 testers, 6 patterns. Technically, well, I mean, if you want to get really technical, one pattern always has 2 techniques, so I need always at least 2 testers per pattern. One of my patterns that's going to be coming out someday is going to have the regular bottom up for both techniques plus a center out for both techniques. So that's 4 options. And sometimes when I do things like that, I realize that it's a little overwhelming, not only for me, but for you guys when you go to buy it and then there's so many files. So I'm probably not going to offer 4 options on all of my patterns. It's just too much. I need to do that final stitch, the flippy one. Now this, I mean, you could just say, hey, that's a fun square. Cut off your yarn, join a few together, you'd be good to go. But we are going to keep going. And I always pull this tight, bring it to the front to carry it. The blue one is just going to be another boring round. I find them a little bit boring when the rounds are so similar. So that pink was round 13. The blue one now is just going to be single crochets again, because when you go to do the next pink one, you'll cover up some of them. So we're using blue. We got to get that pink one away. I imagine that my family will be home soon and it might interrupt this row, but I don't know. We'll see. The cat is home. Hello, cat. Our cats go indoor, outdoor. They're supposed to be mousers, but mostly they just sleep in the house all day, and then they meow at me when they want someone to love them, and then they want in and out to play. So I don't know about how many mice they're catching lately. They did catch a few mice when we first moved in, but maybe they're on holiday. If you were counting, there'd be 27 single crochets across this row, plus the single crochet for the corner. So if you don't count the single crochet, chain space, single crochet, there's 27. And when I finally do update my double wedding rings, I'm still on the fence about whether I need to increase the price, because technically more work has gone into it. But if you were buying the pattern, would you be buying it because it has all 4 versions and therefore I should charge you for all 4 versions? Or would you just be buying it for one version and the other versions that are there, it's just in one file because Ravelry doesn't want me to list it 4 different times? I've seen other people do that on Ravelry. They have a listing for, you know, their pattern that shows a heart in this technique and then the pattern that shows the heart the same in the other technique. But from what I understand, Ravelry does not like that. And they want you just to have one listing. And even I made all these alphabet squares. They were 20 window alphabet squares. There's just like one, it's like a square, A through Z, plus a heart and a star and an ampersand, I think. I can't remember if the ampersand is in that one. Anyways, so each letter is listed individually. Plus there's an ebook so that you can just get all of the letters. And I tried to list a blanket. So for example, with mosaic crochet, if you're not doing the center out like we're currently doing, normally at the end of each round, you'd have to cut your yarn. And if you cut your yarn at the end of each round, then you have to weave it in or use an envelope border or something to deal with those tails. And if you're making A, B, C, D and you want them to join together, you have to deal with the tails before you join it together. It's like an extra step. If you put an envelope border, it makes it bigger because now the envelope border is taking up space. So I made an all-in-one blanket. And Ravelry rejected that. They said, you cannot add this blanket pattern because you already have so many other things. That's pretty much what they said. You already have all of these other things listed. You can't do that. And I was like, well, they're different patterns. And they said no. And I was like, okay. Ravelry sometimes frustrates designers. And I've heard other designers have various other frustrations. Lack of support, rejection of patterns that make no sense, changing pattern listing descriptions, that sort of thing. People, I don't know, but people seem to still love it, and I do prefer it. Etsy has issues as well, people seem to be really upset about that and they complain a lot. So to me, they both have issues. And I don't know why one gets a really bad rap and the other one doesn't. They both have issues. They both have pros and cons. And they both, at the end of the day, have a lack of customer support for the designers. Etsy obviously doesn't only deal with designers, but sellers of anything. Lack of support is a problem. And I find that Ravelry claims to have support, but as an official stance, they don't have that much support. Usually you have to wait a really long time to get an answer, or you have to ask them 5 different times on a message board or an email here, or try this email, or maybe that email. Maybe you'll get a response here. And no one seems to be really upset about this unless it happens to them. And then they're like, what? What kind of customer service is this? And I'm like, yeah, it's been like that forever. So that's just my whine. Nobody was saying anything, and that's what I defaulted to. Just started whining. Oh no, hey? We are not going to count because I trust that I know what my stitches look like. My pink one keeps getting caught with the blue one there. I thought I heard a noise outside, so I think my family is probably on their way home. So what's better? Should I end it at this round or interrupt a round? Well, if I can show you one side of the round, and then if I get interrupted, I don't have to finish that round on camera because you'll have already seen one side of it, right? So I'll just keep going. It's not very chatty in the chat today, but somebody might want to watch this again later. And if you don't, I suppose I wasted an hour crocheting. It doesn't feel that bad to me. It's no harm off my back. That's not even the word, is it? No skin off my back. I don't know what the sentence is. I don't say things. So let me double check where we are. This pink one, oh, there's my family. This pink one was 13. This blue one was 14. On the next video, I'll show you the next bit. Probably, I'm hoping to get the pattern updated before then. So then you could just buy it and you can crochet without me. But if you're waiting for that update, that'll be how we do it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry about all those spam comments. I don't know how to get rid of them. But that's it. Bye, guys.